Big Gold Podcast, your weekly episodic listening experience where we cover WCW Monday Nitro in its entirety.
That's right, folks. We cover everything from Sabu putting himself through a table to Master P's failed wrestling stable.
Right you are, and we will be your guides through this wrestling odyssey. The voices of tomorrow, the Midwest mouthpieces, Mr. Peace, everyone, and I am Mike Ogden wishing all of you an enjoyable Monday morning.
All right, let's get to it and ring the bell.
For 99 cents a minute, you can call the shots on this Monday Nitro. Except it's just the main event.
I swear, no. And I'd like everyone that listens, please let me know I've not gone fully crazy. I swear last week they said you get to make the matches.
That's exactly what they said. I
have an earworm of Eric Bischoff cycling in my brain like a DVD skipping and cutting back to the last scene it was starting on, the chapter, saying you get to call the shots, you get to pick the matches. Matches,
not match, main event. Not...
Because nobody's picking this.
No, my God.
Someone pooped in the pudding. This is terrible.
So when they were listing off the amount of people that you could pick from last week, I was like, okay, fine. That's, a bunch of mid-carders, and then you've got Sting and Ric Flair.
Let me run it down. In the red locker room, you have the man Ric Flair, Ming, DDP, the Blue Bloods, which is Bobby Eaton and Steven Regal, Big Bubba, the Shark, and Scott Norton. In the blue locker room, you have Sting, Johnny B. Bad, Dave Sullivan, Jim Dugan, Alex Wright, the Nasty Boys, and not Mr. JL anymore, just JL.
Just JL.
You have a pretty sizable pool of talent in those two rooms.
Now, hold on.
You could make a whole pay-per-view card off of the talent in those two rooms.
I mean, let's be fair, though. That blue locker room is severely lacking compared to the red locker room.
Completely.
Like, that blue locker room is basically like, if they told you, hey, you can pick from any of this talent here from this blue locker room, that's kind of like a woman. She's like, hey, you can pick the lingerie I'm going to wear tonight. I've got this slim, sexy black corset with, the thong and the fishnets and everything. Or I've got this dried up, crusty piece of shit underwear with shit and bloodstains all in it. Or I've got boy shirts with Alex Wright's face on it. Alex Jones' face. Alex Wright's face right on the front.
I don't think I'd go that far because
it was not good.
The blue locker room, you do have Sting, you have Johnny B. Bad, you have Alex Wright.
Those are three.
You have JL, you have Mr. Jerry Lynn.
Is
four.
Who was not excited to be there. I don't know if you noticed how.
No, but still, it's a pretty sizable pool of talent.
And then everybody else.
You could make a B- pay-per-view out of the talent in these two locker rooms.
Out of those
if you
four,
tried your hardest. None of these talented people are on this show except for two.
Yeah.
And I'm going to spoil it right now. They're saying now you could pick the main event. It's going to be Sting versus Ric Flair. And I'm saying this is more rigged than the Al Gore George Bush election because we know without a fact these fans would have picked Johnny B. Bad.
Absolutely. Johnny 100%. B. Bad would have 100.
Johnny B. Bad is the most over wrestler in WCW, bar none, under Hulk Hogan right now.
Well, and you know why they would have picked it is because they were in Jacksonville, Florida on November 6th. They wanted Johnny B. Bad in Jacksonville, Florida, guaranteed.
The South everyone loves Johnny B. Bad, but when he is in the South, it is just a barrel full of firecrackers.
Yeah,
ridiculous.
This was stupid.
But not everyone gets to call in and pick, not just the people of Florida.
Right. Damn Yankees.
People of Florida, WCW needs your help. Help us book a main event.
Cast your vote now. I know you won't be voting in the primaries, but vote today. We need your win now.
I'll take a 22 long round versus a hurricane.
Oh, man.
So... yeah, because besides, thankfully, Chris Benoit and Eddie Guerrero were able to escape being in these locker rooms, or this show would have legitimately almost no good wrestling.
Not only would it have no good wrestling, it would have almost no redeeming factor at all.
No, Mongo's dog being dressed up couldn't even save this episode.
And I actually even kind of liked this one.
It was stupid.
And I hate dogs being dressed up.
He's a clown. I'm like, that looks nothing. And
it looked nothing
thank
like
God
a clown.
They didn't paint the dog's face. That made me happy. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to cut my loss because they're not making him wear a red nose or painting his face or, hurting him to get a joke across. So I couldn't be that mad. But that is like the worst clown outfit ever.
So
get him a mini dog bald cap with the hair coming out the side.
There's 1,000
I
things.
shouldn't have to tell grown men how to make a dog look like a clown.
Well, I mean, you have more experience in this than we do.
I don't think I do. I want to make that clear right now. That's not a thing that what is it? The amount of hours you have to do something in your lifetime to be considered an expert? It's like
10,000.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's like 8,000 to 10,000.
It's 10,000 hours.
I have not spent about 8,000 hours dressing up dogs as clowns. To be fair to everyone listening, to Homeland Security, that is a complete falsehood. That is not true.
No, it's definitely not true. I'm throwing you under the bus here.
Homeland Security should have stopped this. Was Homeland Security like an official? I know there was like
I don't know, man.
Security.
I have no idea.
I am coffee up right now.
I know.
3 sips.
McCafe
Lord.
kicks in hard.
Yeah. So the Cobras.
Hold on, before we even get to that, if I may. In the very beginning here, when they were going through the clown dog and everything else, they mentioned that Macho Man is not cleared to wrestle tonight. So Macho Man will not be on the show wrestling.
Oh, no, he won't.
No, he won't.
We'll talk about that
I can't wait to talk about that, but I was not.
Oh, boy. See, not even just, the wrestling on this show is bad. Everything on this show, except for maybe 2 things, is terrible.
Absolutely. The audio is even horrendously...
I'll give it 1.5 things.
What was up with the audio towards the very beginning? Was yours beeping incessantly?
Because that is the Cobra's theme. Are you talking about his theme song that he comes out to?
No, you're kidding.
No, that's Morse code.
That's right. I wrote down Morse code.
I have it written here as Norse code, which isn't a real thing. But no, that's just Morse code.
No.
Well, here's the thing: is you hear like the that is supposed to be Kevin Sullivan that starts out like the Dungeon of Doom, and then I was like, "What's with the laughing? Like, is Sullivan about to come out?" And then I hear that's the Cobra's entrance music.
No,
I was literally just getting ready to make this point before you stopped me to bring it up.
Because
now you look stupid to everybody that's ever been in the Navy.
No, I fucking don't. Because here's what I wrote down Morse code. The reason I was upset, I was like, is this a phone connection sound? Is this the people who are calling in and they're accidentally broadcasting some of these fucking audio signals? What's happening?
This is Morse code, and it's a little rusty, but I'm pretty sure it's saying execute Mongo over and over. But yeah, so first match of the night, main event anywhere, Cobra versus the Giant. Who's with Kevin Sullivan and Jimmy Hart.
With the stolen heavyweight belt.
And he comes in and picks up Pinzer, the ring announcer, and makes him say this is a WCW title match. And then Pinzer gets right out of Dodge. And I wish I would have done the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, so this match went on for a good 60-minute Iron Man match. Matt Classic.
No, it was an instant
Fight
classic.
Forever.
I think there was at least 2 or 3 super kicks straight to the jaw.
No, they did a reverse top rope Frankensteiner into the Kujimara armbar, into the Kata Hajime, and then that to a bridging Northern Lights back suplex. No, the Giant choke slammed him in less than 5 seconds.
Yeah, and it was over. And it must be a record.
The 3 count was actually, I think, longer than the match.
That was a really, really slow 3 count.
Well, I feel like he's trying to I feel like the 3 counts in WCW are just a bit slower than the ones we were seeing in WWF and probably around a lot of other places.
I feel like the officiating in WCW is really inconsistent.
It's the wrist flip. It's because they go up, and it's not just Randy Anderson that does it either. Everyone goes up and does the flip. They go up. Dude, I know you can't see me right now, but if you watch WCW,
it's almost like a jazz hand kind of hand roll that he's flicking his wrist.
It's kind of like going through the motion to make sure you're getting that full range. And if they would explain it, I don't know. Either way,
this
terrible.
Sucks.
Yeah. Mongo said, Bobby, you haven't seen something go that quick since your honeymoon. That was actually pretty funny. I don't know who wrote that to Mongo and coached him how to say it like a human. Good job. Pat on the back. So they cut to Mean Gene and what? I'm going to mess this up all night. Mean Gene is in the blue locker room.
Nope, red locker room first.
No, he's not. Mean Gene is in the... Oh, you're right. Sorry. Mean Gene is in the red locker room. You're right. And the Shark and Norton just right then notice that each other is there and start just hitting each other, which, you know what, I thought was good continuity, even though they forgot about this feud for over a month and a half.
I just love that they waited for the camera to be like, oh, we're going. I hate you.
Did you not notice the 400-pound man dressed as a shark before the camera was on?
How did you miss this?
You couldn't feel him breathing?
You couldn't have started the fight before the camera was rolling?
Weight in the room?
They're counting down. I know for 100% fact they're in the room going 5, 4,
Yeah.
3, go. Like, you get that every single time. That's how you know that your part's about to come up. When they see the 5 come up, Scott Norton should have just punched him right in the fucking mouth.
Yeah, okay, but still, I will say it is good to give some sort of positive light. It was good continuity. The feud nobody wants to see, at least, because you know what? If this was modern day WWE, they would have had no contact, nothing. It would not have been brought up that they were just having a vicious feud that had not ended yet.
Because the only thing worse than mid-90s wrestling is modern WWE, quite frankly.
I'll give that.
Yeah. It's awful right now. I just can't with it.
Sergeant Greg Pittman, Seth Rollins. Sergeant Greg, I'm just kidding.
Ooh,
Seth Rollins.
I don't know.
But still.
Seth Rollins is, he's the Dave Grohl of wrestling.
Shut up. I hate Dave Grohl.
Yeah.
So Shivani's in the blue locker room?
Yes.
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 Jim Duggan is the most annoying human on the face of the
I
planet.
don't fucking understand what he's doing. Just like, he's just stamping around the room, throwing shit. Mr. JL doesn't want to be
He's wearing a mask, so you must be really good at body language.
Really good, dude.
He's not Mr. JL anymore. He's just JL.
Yeah, just JL. Like, it's just the way that he was positioned was
Mr.
like.
JL was my father.
Shut up. Shut up. Get the fuck out of here. I'm not doing this today. But no, like,
he is just running around throwing things. Look, I understand. For a lot of people, maybe even people in our age group, from the 25 to 30 age group, people like Jimmy Hart and Jim Duggan are iconic wrestlers. When you think, and especially people like our dads, when you think of wrestling, sometimes one of the top 5 people you think of is Jim Duggan. Definitely our dad's generation, our parents' generation versus our generation.
Sure.
But a lot of us still do cling to the rock and wrestling connection. But my God, I just have never really liked Jim Duggan.
I did when I was young. When I was about this age, I liked Jim Duggan at the
annoying.
time. But he is incredibly annoying. No, as an adult, not a kid, I can't stand him. And honestly, I've never, ever liked Jimmy Hart. I'm just going to put that out there now. I've never liked Jimmy Hart.
But Jimmy Hart is good at getting you to dislike him.
Well, yeah, I mean.
Because you just naturally dislike him.
Yeah.
Jim Duggan is you just naturally don't like him. He's like when you get older and there's like that annoying little kid at your family reunion or family function who wants attention but will not stop. And no one's giving him attention because they know if they do, it's just going to escalate and get worse and just become negative feedback. And I'm going haywire right now, but I just want to settle it and say Jim Duggan is incredibly annoying.
Yeah, no, incredibly annoying.
The only good thing Jim Duggan ever did in wrestling was find the WCW title or TV title in the trash.
Which I think you've already mentioned on this show.
It's his only good time.
Mm-hmm.
Show me. I'm not trying to disrespect like his legacy.
I can't show you anything.
He's an iconic
we're in the middle
80s
of a
wrestler.
podcast.
He's an iconic 80s wrestler. But he has I'm pretty sure he won the first Royal Rumble. But honestly, I remember him more dressed like a janitor finding that title in the trash. Anyway, sorry.
he was the original cleaner gimmick from Kenny Omega.
Yeah, Kenny Omega. Way to steal Jim.
Oh, man.
So, Hulk Hogan's not here.
Real quick, World War III promo. Yes. Sunday, November 26th, 20 days away from this. So instead of having to wait 9 fucking weeks to get to a pay-per-view, it'll be 3 or 4. I didn't count, but it's not going to be long.
So it's 60 men. They're pushing 3 giants.
Yeah, 3 giants.
We'll get to that later at the end of the show. And I don't want to spoil it. I know we've already spoiled the main event, but
I mean, like anybody didn't expect.
I understand. Anyway, so it's 3 rings, 3 giants, and 60 men. I am upset that not all 60 of these men are in monster trucks. You know what this pay-per-view build really needs? Who would have thought WCW would have started sucking more when they took away the monster trucks?
Wrestling's
honestly, not hard. Once a month, if someone shows up in a monster truck, it's gonna be good.
It'll be fine. Unless you do it for fucking 12 minutes in the rain with...
on top of Cobo Hall in Detroit, brother.
Oh my gosh. I don't even want to think about that anymore. That was awful. But it was not as awful as this promo coming up here.
Oh my God.
This is literally the worst thing I think I've ever seen in wrestling. And I've said that a few times already.
You know what? That is a bold statement and people say that too much these days, but I will give that to you. This is a top 5 contender for one of the worst things and probably one of the worst promos.
Yeah.
Featuring Macho Man Randy Savage. Hogan sucks at promos. He's good at, saying stuff that's somewhat memorable. Macho Man is just, promo top class.
Right.
This thing is terrible.
The setting is awful. The extras are horrendous.
So let me
yeah,
clarify.
just go. You
Eric
paint us a
Bischoff
picture.
said that Hulk Hogan's not here. Him and Macho Man are in Venice Beach getting in touch with their roots. So they cut to a Venice street performer who is wearing a giant, I would say probably a Rastafari hat, playing a guitar on roller skates with, I want to say, baseball umpire knee or baseball shortstop knee pads.
Yeah.
Singing a song about Hulk Hogan. And I don't remember how it went because I'm trying to block it out of my brain as hard as I can.
It was one of some of the worst playing and yelling I've ever heard. It was yelling, not singing.
That is just setting the stage. So it's Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage wearing all black while a destitute man in between them drinking, I would say, a beer in between them is just yelling while they're talking. And he says, Hogan has joined the dark side. And they're just doing this rambly promo while this guy behind them is playing this just space guitar riff singing about Hulk Hogan. This is the worst Grateful Dead song I have ever heard.
You've heard a lot of Grateful Dead.
I have heard almost every Grateful Dead song.
The people in the background too, because they're in Venice Beach. It's not like a set. They're in Venice Beach, and they've got some destitute man in between them. The guitar player is, as Peace has mentioned.
Wow, way to use my use of the word destitute.
I did. I'm trying to reiterate to the crowd. I was so
proud of remembering what that meant, and I was like, yeah, he's a destitute man.
I'm just literally reiterating what you're saying. Anyway, so you've got these figures he's already mentioned, but in the background, you have the least interested humans possible. Just standing there, just staring at the camera, staring at Hulk Hogan, wishing to God they were not there.
Well, it's also Venice Beach, so I feel like there's something way more interesting going on than the Hulk Hogan, Macho Man, destitute man, guitar pro, whatever this is right now.
Yeah, this was, and this not only is it awful, it goes on for like 5 minutes.
And Hogan said the giant has warts.
Yeah, the big stinky giant with warts or wart-ridden giant or whatever.
I'm surprised he didn't say big stinky giant with big stinky warts and a big stinky face and no one likes you because you're a big stinky.
I've literally always hated the word stinky. I think it's just a terrible word.
I have a 5-year-old that has better insults.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Literally the other day, I said something and she said, will you come here? And I said, yeah. She grabbed my hand and then walked me from one side of the house to the other, picked up my shoes and gave them to me and said, now go. Versus I don't even know how old Hulk Hogan saying, you got warts, brother. You're going to have to go and get him the dry ice treatment.
I don't know. This sucks.
So Savage is apparently going to investigate the WCW locker room to see who's Hogan's friend or foe. Because, if you want someone who's going to be very discreet, you send Macho Man Randy Savage.
I just need to ask you a question, brother.
Are you Macho Man Randy Savage?
No.
There's Slim Jim rappers just billowing out of your pocket.
Oh, yeah! I've blown my cover!
I quit doing drugs a long time ago, but this was what was that bad acid trip? Your parents are getting divorced promo. That was the worst thing I think I've ever seen.
Yeah,
and we're only on episode 10 of WCW.
Yeah.
So this will not be the worst thing I've ever seen.
Episode 10 of Nitro specifically. There was WCW
before
this.
Sorry.
Yes.
This is only episode, yes, sorry. There is a whole legacy that I have just tarnished that went on for years and years and years. I'm like, episode 10. WCW.
I was watching some 92 WCW the other day, and it was so much better than this. It was so much better. And
I do prefer some very early 90, 91, 92, Jim Crockett, WCW, whatever you want to call it. To me, it's WCW.
It's not perfect, but it's better.
I know somewhere Jim Cornette's neck muscle just splurged, knowing that someone in the universe just said that and didn't differentiate. But
yeah, it's whatever it was better than what we're getting now.
Yeah. Speaking of the Grateful Dead, a few nights ago I was listening to their live performance of Dark Star from Columbus, Ohio that was recorded October 31st.
Okay.
Yeah, on Halloween. You know what else is happening on October 31st? Our debut episode of our debut spinoff show Nuggets, where we review and sit down and watch the 1991 Halloween Havoc Chambers of Horror steel cage tag team match.
Every 20 minutes, we got to plug this.
No, this is the only time I'm plugging it.
Okay.
Just one.
Good, because we did it like 16 times 2 weeks ago.
Nope. I got to save more money, more airtime for Home Depot plugs.
When do they sue us for wrongful plugging because they hate our program? When does that happen?
I am in touch with numerous people, and they're all wearing orange. And you think Taz shops at Home Depot? He's the orange and black attack.
I guess
he's got to live his gimmick. If you saw Taz at Lowe's, you'd be like,
"It's Taz,
dude. Kayfabe is dead. You're dead to me, Taz. You're dead to me." And then when you reach back up because he's so short and you fix your back, I'm just kidding, Taz. Please don't kill me.
Oh, he would suplex the absolute shit out of you.
That man is a murderer. Oh, not in like, the real way.
No, but no, he would wreck
I'm
your
not
shit.
trying to notify the NYPD that Taz is responsible for a string of homicides reaching from 1985 to 19. I'm just kidding.
All I can think of is the Bob Saget bit
all
from.
Respect to Taz. Please don't murder
me. No, and I'm not going to go into the Bob Saget bit that
no,
what's his face did.
Yeah,
you know
Gilbert Godfrey.
Gilbert Godfrey.
How
thank you.
Dare you not remember the name of our Lord and Savior?
I've got his voice in my head.
The man who should be the next Pope.
Oh,
Gilbert Godfrey. The only man that can unite all the religions and all the sects and all the differences in the world. Our Holy Father art thou, Gilbert Godfrey.
And so I bless you in the name of the Holy Spirit.
Drink the wine, but not too much, because you got that thing. And you get weird, and we're not trying to get weird here. My God.
All right, let's pull this back into fantasy land from one fantasy to another. Up next, we have more Jimmy Hart with Kevin Sullivan.
No, I'm sorry. Gilbert Gottfried as Pope is more realistic than what Kevin Sullivan is doing with his hair right now in 1995. So don't start with me.
I've seen everything. Every man with male pattern baldness in the 90s was trying to find some way of like hanging on to that shred of dignity. Whether it was the skullet or the ponytail deal, like just shave it fucking off.
I know a lot of wrestlers want to keep their long hair because it helps them sell. And from
tell it to Stone Cold, fuck off.
Okay, I understand that, but in some interviews, like you remember Lance Storm in Smoky Mountain Wrestling, how he had like the blonde rat tail and everything.
Mm-hmm.
He was saying he had that specifically to sell. But my God, just from a standpoint of being a human, if you're going bald, just shave your head.
Just get the fuck rid of it,
or just cut it down. There's nothing wrong with being bald and still having hair on the sides.
Right?
It's fine. But don't go out there and try and put it in a ponytail, and don't go out there and try and wrestle.
Or these,
God forbid, don't give a reason for the Renegade to come out on TV.
Please, yeah, no, I would that upset me greatly.
So
this fucking great value version of the Ultimate Warrior.
Let me give it the formal intro. The one side you have the Taskmaster Kevin Sullivan with Jimmy Hart taking on the Renegade. And Mongo says, I'd like to stick that megaphone somewhere, and the sounds that would come out of that megaphone would probably sound better than Mongo's commentary.
Absolutely. Guaranteed.
Anything that would come out of a butt that was amplified would sound better than Mongo.
I really wish I had Jim Cornette's little fart pen that he uses all the time on his...
My God.
I need to buy one of those. Put that on Cornette's Collectibles, if you ever listen to this.
Renegade is worse than Sergeant Craig Pittman. And I will not give a formal apology to Sergeant Craig Pittman, but I will say that I have found someone worse than him.
Yeah.
And I already knew it. It's funny because I watched a bunch of Renegade matches because I hate myself.
You really do.
But it's just from watching WCW.
You like so much bad stuff. I don't get it.
But no, I don't like watching this. It's just like I'm watching a pay-per-view and it pops up and it's like the Renegade versus Arn Anderson, and I just can't. I just too lazy to roll over and switch it.
Yeah, no.
I like to watch pay-per-views in their entirety. I'm just not by choice. I've seen a bunch of Renegade matches. He is just terrible. He never gets better. I know I'm not a professional wrestler or a trained expert or grappler, but my God, he is just terrible to watch.
Yeah.
And you can tell he's terrible to work with.
Yeah, he runs in, he clotheslines Kevin Sullivan, who I'm going to start calling Kev Sol, just because it's so much quicker.
Jimmy Hart is yelling, you could have been the next Hulk Hogan, Renegade. The biggest lie ever told on the face of the earth.
Which is, and that was, as he kept yelling through his megaphone at the Renegade, I was like, I really settled in how much I just don't like Jimmy Hart, because it's just, none of it's even close to believable. It's just a guy with a mullet in a cheap suit yelling at fucking people. And it's like, yeah, I get it. That's the 90s wrestling, but it just kind of sucks, quite frankly. There's so many other ways to be, you know, a heel manager and get yourself over rather than shouting through a megaphone nonsensical phrases and quotes.
That's his thing, man.
And it sucks dicks. It sucks so many dicks.
Okay. It sucks, but it's annoying.
Wonderful. Annoying.
No. I'm not defending it, but I'm saying that is his way of getting himself over he is playing the character of an annoying pest. And the announce team is really putting over how, except for Bobby Heenan, how much they're not even really talking about the Giant or Kevin Sullivan. It's all aimed at Jimmy Hart.
Because he's Hulk Hogan's wingman, basically. Even at this point yes, but you got to talk about one or the other. Yeah. That way because in tandem, when people hear about Jimmy Hart, they think of Hulk Hogan. And look, I get he's being a heel and I'm not supposed to like him. Trust me, I'm the first person to get that because I still to this day defend Baron Corbin, who nobody wants to seem to defend.
I just heard the credibility audibly leave the room.
Look, do you like Baron Corbin?
Seep out.
Do you like him?
No, but
you don't. And you're not supposed to. And I defend that all the time because he's one of the only heels in WWE who is a heel inside and outside of the ring that nobody wants to see win. And they keep putting him over and making him a bigger and bigger heel. He's the most successful heel in WWE today.
Let me see your Twitter DMs. I want to know how much money he PayPal'd you to go on this rant. Hey, man, I know like 12 people listen to your show. You think you could do old Bear a favor?
Bear.
Oh, Barry C. So anyway, we should reiterate the Jimmy Hart, before turning, was the Renegades manager as well.
I did not know that.
Yes, he was. But probably because you don't like Jimmy Hart, so you didn't just sit there. And
I don't like the Renegade either.
Sorry, I do research for this show.
I really don't. I've never done a lick of research for this show. I watch the episodes, and half the time I barely give them my attention.
Mongo is going on some rant about his physics professor. And it's just stupid. And even Eric Bischoff's like, you went to college? Like, no. And Heenan's like, yeah, it was a barber college. And I felt put down by somebody who has gone to, you know, a college pertaining to the beauty industry. But still, my God, that was hilarious.
Oh, it's hilarious. No, it's
so
good.
Funny.
You notice we're not talking about this match, by the way.
No, because it's stupid. And real quick, funny little tidbit. So at ringside, not yet. They're talking about last week, Bobby Heenan sitting down with Sonny Ono, talking about his Japanese constituent. And Bobby Heenan is saying the Japanese aren't being treated fairly in WCW. Here's a fun little bit of trivia that you can tell at your next Thanksgiving. Because I know your family's from Florida and they'll actually care.
Here's the thing, you'll probably be there, so you can tell the trivia.
Yeah, this is something I'm going to talk to your dad about. So, Bobby was Heenan with Sonny Ono, obviously, and he's saying the Japanese aren't being treated fairly. In the year 2000, Sonny Ono, Hardbody Harris, and some other some other non-white wrestlers, some people of color, actually sued AOL Time Warner, who was at the time WCW's parent company, and his main thing was he was treated wrong because he was a Japanese man.
Huh.
Yeah, so kind of a little bit of the gimmick becoming reality.
Right.
He was saying that he was paid half of what a wrestler was paid, that based on his skin color and his nation of origin, he was giving a offensive gimmick, that there was racial... There is a few different kinds of race-based and other kinds of discrimination-based lawsuits against WCW. I'm pretty sure
racial discrimination in the wrestling business.
Yeah.
No.
I know I'm not I'm definitely doing a Viceland thing right now. But no, if my memory serves correct, Paul Heyman had one for anti-Semitism in the WCW.
What?
I'm dead serious.
What?
And he actually, well, here's the thing.
Isn't he Jewish?
Yes. No, he was suing WCW.
Oh, I thought you meant
they weren't just suing him.
It's what the
they're
fuck
not
are you
that
talking about?
stupid. But anyway, no. AOL actually AOL actually settled out of court with Sonny Ono and a lot of the other wrestlers.
Sure.
So it's just funny, a lot. I know there's a lot of jokes being made about talking about a wrestling company out of Georgia ain't treating people right. Are they just a little bit darker or a little bit paler? But I mean, it is funny here. He's going on about the Japanese wrestlers aren't being treated correctly or treated fairly. And then the same person he's talking about would go on to sue the WCW, air quotes, and win some money.
Right.
Art becoming life.
Don't work yourself into a shoot there, friend.
Sorry, I'm still really riled up by that Macho Man Venice Beach Hogan promo.
God, that was, yeah.
Renegade with a cartwheel elbow into the corner.
Yeah, I was making notes at that same time that happened and I missed it. And quite frankly, I didn't rewind it to see it because I couldn't give a fuck.
Kevin Sullivan with a second rope double stomp for the win. Finn Balor, if you didn't know, actually pays homage to his favorite wrestler, Kevin Sullivan, the Taskmaster, and that is why he uses the coup de grace.
He just does. He has a little bit more. Stink, I would say, that he puts on the coup de grace. You know,
everything I just said is not true, but I'm going to keep saying it.
Oh, you might as well just keep saying it.
Yeah,
might as well be
why
fucking
not?
true.
Everyone else that does wrestling journalism or wrestling anything does it and just says stuff that's not true.
Every time we start talking about other people, I just want to start shouting out catchphrases from other people who do podcasts and shit. But I'm not going to give them the support.
I don't think they're smart enough to have pod.
That's true.
Yeah, I don't think anyone besides Cornette has a catchphrase.
They definitely,
and Cornette's is just a bunch of swearing anyway. Well, yeah. I think something. Anyway, we're not going and giving other shows airtime.
No,
we need listeners here. Give us money.
Send us a check.
Give us some money. This is a horrible match.
This is a horrible show. I'm so upset at this point. We're like 20 minutes into the show, 31 into this. We've been arguing about nothing for 31 minutes now, and the show is like we're going past what the show is at right now.
So this is a podcast about nothing?
Yeah.
So we're produced by Larry David. I wish. Oh, I wish. Bow, bow, back, 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 bow. What's up with Kevin Sullivan's hairline?
No podcast for you.
Stupid. I hate you.
This is where the big boys podcast.
Yeah, this is where the big boys podcast. So Jimmy Hart, after the match, throws a beer in the Renegade's face, but then goes and wipes it off because I know he's trying to get the makeup off.
He's trying to get the face paint off, yeah.
And I know it would suck. That's definitely some heavy duty stuff he's got on there and rub him raw. But it is silly to just like throw something at someone's face and then rub it right, clean him right off. I don't know. I know he's trying to get the makeup off, but it just seemed goofy to me.
Well, and then he starts yelling at him about having the makeup on, and you should get rid of the makeup. You should just quit. You're worth nothing. This, that, and the other. And it's
he keeps saying more than once you could have been the next Hulk Hogan.
Right.
Bold-faced lie.
Bold-faced lie.
Because it couldn't even be the next Ultimate Warrior.
No, it couldn't.
Mean Gene is back in the red locker room.
I didn't write it down.
He's with Flair, red locker room. The lights start going off. And Ric Flair says, lights on or lights off. Sting, I told you, I'm lit up again, just like the Lord. Turn on the lights, back on. They go on and off at my command.
I thought this was stupid.
I don't. It's goofy, but you know what? It's a Ric Flair promo, so I'm
gonna give
it a thumbs up.
He made it up off the top of his head. The lights, I think, were not even supposed to be flickering. I think that was actually a mistake because Gene sells like a mofo, so I very well could be wrong. But he looks like, what the fuck is even happening in this
arena?
He's like, why is this place like? He looked so upset to even be in that room with like 8 sweaty dudes with the lights flickering on and off and Ric Flair yelling at him. Oh,
you know he had to get that dry cleaned out of his jacket.
Oh, he threw the fucking thing away. He just got rid of it. Gave it to Scott Norton so he could turn it into a southern suit. Rip the arms off.
Praise the Lord, our heavenly earthly father, Gilbert Gottfried. We finally get some good wrestling on a show that's company has wrestling in the title.
Do they?
World Championship Wrestling.
Ah, okay. I thought it was wrestling.
Yeah, WCR.
That'd be so much better.
Well, you know what? Some people aren't like you and I, where they can, we're from a more rural southern area, where they can differentiate between, another letter making a different sound.
That's true.
And they're stupid. Our fathers taught us not to play by the books. They're stuck, with their little grammar books in second grade, pronouncing W like a W instead of a rah.
Or instead of saying W, they say W.
That's stupid. It's not a U.
W. There's no U's. It's a W.
It's a W.
W.
It's a W.
Eat shit.
W.
Anyway.
Ubya. W. George W. Bush.
This podcast has gone off the rails.
No, I'm tired of teaching people these things. You want a better podcast? Quit being so stupid, and I'll have to quit cutting out the time that I take to review these stupid matches.
You want a better podcast? You ain't gonna get one. This is where it's at. And this is where the big boys podcast.
We smacked the glass ceiling a long time ago, and we've still got about 6 more years of material to go through.
Oh, please don't remind me.
You better strap in.
I was looking at it was like, oh, we're at episode 10. This is such a milestone. I was like, how many more do we got? Oh Jesus.
Tons.
It's not gonna ever fucking end.
Tons.
Anyway, Benoit
A miracle from Gilbert Gottfried himself, Eddie Guerrero versus Chris Benoit.
Which, I mean, we just had this like 2 weeks ago, right?
I'm fine with that.
No, don't get me wrong. I'm not mad. We can have this every single week.
This is not the show to complain about.
No.
To complain about someone having a good match.
Yeah.
Benoit attacked before the bell, and that was cool.
It was very cool.
I like his intensity he's showing.
So I didn't write a whole lot down about this match because it would be us reciting the moves over and over again.
Yeah, a few key points. Just go back and watch it.
Yeah.
Did we even say this is the the November 6th, 1995 episode from Jacksonville, Florida? Okay.
Yeah, we did.
I just want to make sure that people actually want to go back and watch these matches.
Yeah, no, I think it's good to reiterate because of the way we flip it in.
If you really want to go back and watch these great young Eddie Guerrero versus Chris Benoit matches, please do.
Yeah, they're fantastic. Benoit has not been, well, I shouldn't say has not been, but he will not be in this good a shape during his WWE tenure. He's physically still ripped and built, and he's still aggressive, but he doesn't have the same mobility that he has here.
He's working a different style.
It's a different style.
Remember, the WCW Cruiserweight style is vastly different from the style.
And it's weird they're calling him a cruiserweight because he does not look like a fucking cruiserweight.
No, they're talking about the Cruiserweight division. These guys you could have put but this is also 1995.
Yeah, well, and Eddie Guerrero was 5'8", 5'9". He looked more like a cruiserweight than Benoit. But Benoit was shredded to the gills.
Yeah, over in WWF in the future, and even or I think 1995, even starting right now to the future, you're going to have Shawn Michaels as a big main event player. Mm-hmm. Definitely 1995, he's definitely in the main events.
But he's also closer to like 210.
Bret
probably.
Hart is also a smaller stature. Yep. I feel like
Stone Cold Steve Austin isn't gigantic. He's like 6'2",
but he's not in the main event yet. But that's a few years later. But at this time, you are having people like, you still have, your Psycho Sids and stuff like that, and your taller guys and everything like, of that ilk. But I do think if you would have put the WCW title or a bigger title, you don't have to make a division and point out these guys are smaller.
No. Which I think a lot of people still do that too much to this day.
Dang entertaining.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great.
The spine buster that Benoit delivered to Eddie Guerrero,
God.
That looked like it literally just like broke 3 vertebrae.
Benoit threw out the Lion Tamer.
Yeah.
I popped. I was like, yeah.
And the leaping superplex.
Oh, dude.
It wasn't a superplex. The second rope
springboard armbar. And then the tilt-a-whirl slam from Eddie Guerrero.
Benoit's power bomb.
Yeah.
Oh,
it was Eddie's posthumous birthday a few days ago. Much respect to Eddie Guerrero.
Yes, absolutely.
One of the great. We haven't said it enough. One of the greatest ever.
We say it every single time he's here. When the Dayton, Ohio episode from last week, we just kept gushing about Eddie Guerrero, and that's never gonna stop.
You can't. No, he's amazing.
No, he's easily
Even
top 5.
Going back and watching him in 1995, it's just amazing how good he is. How he's able just to hold, even against inferior opponents like Sergeant Greg Pittman, hold things together and try and work something. And then when he's giving something way more palpable, like a Chris Benoit, just puts on something vastly entertaining, still telling a story.
Yeah. Well, and the story they told here was excellent.
Eddie's trying to get the quick roll up to put Benoit away.
Yep.
He's trying to figure out some way to put him away real quick.
And Benoit just will not let it happen.
He's vicious.
He's vicious. He's staying aggressive. And I want to talk about, there are some negatives to this match I want to get to, but I don't want to get to that yet. Let's focus on the positives. So
let's focus real quick. So the Japanese...
No. Fuck that. I don't want to talk about that.
The Japanese people are ringside. Sorry, the Japanese side. That sounded like it was going to be the start of a really, really bad rant. I'm sorry. The Japanese talent at ringside are all eating sushi and drinking sake and various other beverages, except for Jushin Thunder Liger because he has his mask on. So everyone just has this big mountain of food and they're all eating, and Liger's just over there like, man, glad I had a sandwich before I came, I guess.
See, I just don't know, and I guess now we are going to talk about this. I don't know why they kept doing so many cutaways. I don't know why they focused the commentary on other aspects aside from the match.
And they're also bringing up the homeless Venice guy.
Yeah, they won't stop talking about that.
Focus on this great thing. Bobby Heenan is saying this match has more moves than a Swiss watch.
Yeah.
Or no, Eric Bischoff said that. But then he goes on another rant about like, hey guys, what's Hulk Hogan? It's like, dude, Eric, shut up. No one cares right now.
No, not at all. They do this. Eddie Guerrero does the giant dive once again, like they repeated for a few weeks ago.
Picture perfect.
Picture perfect. Beautiful dive. The landing and the way that Chris Benoit grabs him and helps him down so he doesn't break his fucking neck.
Yeah.
Everything was just picture perfect. They couldn't have been in a better position. Eddie's leap couldn't have been better. It's so hard to coordinate that, and he did it so perfectly. and all they want to do is talk about the Japanese businessman and Hulk Hogan.
Yep. Oh, what was your criticisms, by the way? Sorry, I had to.
That's what the criticism is. I wanted to focus about the positives about the match though, real quick. So the ending of the match, what I thought was the most positive. So they've had this feud for a few weeks now, and I'm sure they've been doing house shows out the wazoo also. I mean, I can't verify that. I don't know
if WCW was doing house shows.
They may not have been. I just know that from how business operates today.
Me stupid. They might have been. I don't know. That is something I'm definitely going to have to make note of and look up because I don't know. I don't know right now. I don't want to say yay or nay. So,
I just know with current business models with a lot of, specifically WWE, if you've got an angle between two wrestlers, they usually work those on the house shows as well as the television.
They've got to be. I probably sound stupid. I just don't want to,
Well, some don't do that.
No,
I mean,
they don't.
It's not totally, out of the question. But so Eddie Guerrero winds up getting the win, but it's a wrongful win. Not that he didn't have a pinfall, but Chris Benoit's feet were underneath or on the ropes. He's kind of alternating between the two, but the ref didn't see it. It was completely legitimate that Chris Benoit should have not had any pinfall against him, but it still went towards Eddie's favor, which means we can continue these matches. We can continue this story and it's not even a heel versus a babyface, though it very much, Benoit was getting booed when he walked in. Eddie Guerrero was.
But it's very natural. Benoit is being a heel through his viciousness and his body language and his ring work alone.
Right. No eye pokes, no low blows.
He's not, he's not going to the Ric Flair book a heel.
Right.
Which is not to say anything about Ric Flair. He's getting over on just how he's playing it.
And Eddie Guerrero is such a likable person.
It's great.
That he walks in the room and is instantly cheered.
He's an amazing underdog.
You have heel and face dynamic going on very organically here. They're telling a story of competitors, people trying to better each other essentially and get better at themselves because they are pretty much the top two working talents on the roster. I mean, you could probably put Alex Wright in here as well. There's a lot of talent here.
Malenko.
Oh, absolutely. Dean Malenko.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of talent to be had, but these two are just constantly putting on clinics, and it's the longer they can keep this going and keep these matches entertaining, the better it is going to be for each episode of Nitro, because Nitro sucks without them, quite frankly.
More moves than X-Lax.
That's
what Bobby Heenan had to say.
Yep.
Oh, real quick, Eric was going off and he said, Sting deserves a shot. Sting deserves nothing. He is the dumbest man in WCW right now at this point.
Kayfabe, yes.
Yes, yeah. We're not going to talk about,
We're not talking shit about Sting, but in kayfabe,
his character looks like an idiot.
It's fucking ridiculous.
He trusted Ric Flair. He trusted got everyone to try and trust Lex Luger. Lord, Sting deserves nothing.
No.
Johnny B. Bad should be in this main event.
Yeah, I agree.
God.
Although I did enjoy this main event so much more than their first encounter on episode 1.
Mm-hmm.
This was much better. We still had the military press slams.
Oh, we'll get into that.
We're going to get into that. You still had them, but overall, this was really, really good.
Yep.
This was a good match.
They cut back to the blue locker room with Tony Schiavone. I think so, yes. Hacksaw is walking around with a chair on top of his head.
I didn't even see this.
I'm not giving him any more attention.
Yeah, I didn't.
So, and Sting is going off saying Sting used the little stingers to get him over. And he says, I'm going to leave you for dead. And as much as an idiot as Sting looks right now, I do like this want of revenge and this intensity coming through him right now.
Which we get to see more later.
Great.
It is good. We need this. He needs this edge to him.
Mm-hmm.
That way he's not such a candy ass.
Oh, Evad Sullivan gets best dressed. Next to the dude who is mugging for the camera right after this before they go to commercial wearing the Gucci sweater.
So I gave worst dress to the Shark because I just have to, honestly. I like the Shark, but he's always so sloppish.
No, I'm giving it to Kevin Sullivan. That hairline and that bathrobe.
Yeah, you know what? Both fair.
Sullivan gets worst. His kayfabe brother gets best. So,
so best dress though. So as Ric Flair is coming out to the ring, Sting is already out. He's already in the ring.
Not to ruin the main event for you, which we already did.
We've already said it 60 fucking times.
It's gonna be Sting and Ric Flair. Who else is?
We already said that.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Who else is it gonna be?
So Sting is already in the ring. Ric Flair's coming out there, and as he's walking out there, Sting starts kind of like, coming through the ropes at him, like, "Hey, you better get your ass in here. Like, I'm gonna kick your ass today. Ha. Look at me, I'm Sting. I'm the best." Like, whatever the fuck he's saying.
Ric Flair uses a woman.
So Ric Flair grabs this probably the most attractive woman in Florida and just puts her right in front of him and is human shielding her the entire time.
I don't know where she came from.
I have no clue where she came from.
He didn't just pull her out of the audience. She was just, I don't know if like...
Well, and she walked back from the ramp.
I like, a lot of my history isn't, on point for some things. I don't know if the Nitro girls, they're not a thing on TV right now, but I don't know if they're a thing in between matches. But I don't know where this...
I don't know if she was a ring bell or...
buxom, very good-looking woman came from, but she didn't seem to be very upset at Ric Flair. She's like laughing the whole time.
No. She's like, oh, Rick, you so crazy. Sting's about to pummel me instead of you. You so cray-cray.
So.
But no, she got best dressed.
For this, wow.
Bar none. Yeah, bar none. I saw her, I was like, wait, what are we doing? Why is she not in the ring?
So.
I'm Vince Russo. I'm just trying to get people in the ring.
We've got some new technology.
Based on physical attractiveness.
You heard of Florida man, bro? Well, it's Florida woman, okay? She's a woman, but she's from Florida. And then we do a swerve, and she's from Wisconsin. And then we put the belt on her.
I can't wait for those years.
It's a swerve, bro. I always thought it was like an exaggeration when people would talk. No, it is on point. Not to make fun of somebody's accent, because God knows we have some Midwestern goofy accent. Oh, my goodness.
Those years are going to be, we're going to be in our early 30s talking about Vince Russo. Yes. Fucking 30 years prior.
10 seconds in, we get our first military press slam.
Woo!
And that is my segue to introduce you to our new technology that we have formulated. We now have the military press slam counter. So every time there's a military press slam performed by Sting in a match that he is in, we will ring a bell. So let's get a ring. All right. So that's one. Flair flips. So Sting sends him to the corner. Sting is on a house of fire right now. Flair flips over the ropes and tries to run, and Sting just comes and cuts him off. I'm liking Sting's intensity.
Sting is out for blood right now. He is not happy with Ric Flair's behavior. He has been a naughty boy, and he will teach him what is right.
Stop. Flair gives him a suplex on the outside.
Yeah.
On the floor, not on the mats. But I mean, still, it's going to suck.
Yeah, no.
You know what I mean?
Well, and the way Sting landed, it wasn't a full flat back. It was kind of like on his side. So it was a little mitigated, but like, it looks good.
Mitigated. Wow. You want to rub your diploma in my face a bit more?
I'll go grab it. I'll break it out of the fucking case. But it's doing nothing else. I might as well use it to wipe your face.
Sting.
I mean, I've got a wrestling podcast. What the fuck else am I
Flair
doing?
Gets the guardrail and then goes to do the splash and misses and just wins himself on top there. And they go to commercial. They come back and Flair locks in the figure four while he's holding on to the ropes.
Oh, the rope. That was great. I love that.
They're talking. I always love that. They're talking about the Sting wants the Scorpion Deathlock. So I have to ask you now, since we are, already talked about Bret Hart. Are you a Scorpion Deathlock fan or are you a Sharpshooter fan?
I'm a Rock Sharpshooter fan.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Nope.
Give me the Rock Sharpshooter.
I'm going to throw this coffee in your face.
I like the Miz's figure four.
Because what I've seen them talk about and other people talk about, like, I went to a wrestling forum to get some ideas for I know. I punish myself for
How
you people.
seriously do you take
so
this show?
Hard.
Jesus
I
Christ.
just wanted to get it right. Because most people are like, oh, it's the same move. So, from what I'm seeing some people will sell the legs, but the Scorpion Deathlock is used primarily to put pressure, and they say it later in the show, to put pressure on the small of the back.
Right.
While the sharpshooter is usually showed more to put the pressure on the legs and tension in the legs.
Right.
All right. And obviously the sharpshooter is more of a finishing move. Obviously Sting finishes the match here with a Scorpion Deathlock.
Spoiler alert.
Usually he uses, the Scorpion Death Drop and a myriad of other moves.
Right.
Yeah.
Which the Stinger Splash, by the way, is one of the worst moves.
It gets a pop. Sting is hulking up here.
Non-stop. Oh, dude, he no-sells almost everything.
Almost everything. And then we get, ring the bell, another military press slam. That is 2 at this point. So Flair tries to hit Sting with a chair and Randy Anderson takes it. They're arguing. Sting has some great frosted tips. Let me stop this match. Let me stop you right there, my God. Let's talk about Sting's hair right now.
Okay.
Beautiful. As a man who has had frosted tips before, how do you rate the frostiness of Sting's tips?
8 out of 10.
8 out of 10.
8 out of 10.
Beautiful. Perfect.
By the way, when am I getting those back?
You'll get them very soon.
Good. My frosted tips will be our new logo for the Big Gold Podcast.
God, the Big Gold Tips. So Eric is
where the big tips play.
Eric is plugging a special announcement after the main event. Everyone's talking. He then says, "Oh, is Hogan retired?" We could only hope, Bobby.
Oh, we could only
hope. And then another top rope military press slam. Let me get a bell. That is 3.
Real quick, I do want to drive this back real quick. I was trying to listen to you talk while looking at my notes, and I did a terrible job here.
I'm sorry you can't do 2 things at once.
You know, when you're thinking about
where is your diploma?
Oh, I'm going to come get it. Don't make me. Anyway, so when Randy Anderson takes away the chair from Ric Flair, Rick pushes him, and Randy shoves him right fucking back.
He has the power of the mullet.
Dude, he just shoves Ric Flair's ass, and Rick was like, "Oh, okay, my bad. I guess I'll walk away now."
Pushing a man with a mullet in Jacksonville, Florida.
Yeah, no.
That is a gang mentality. He is lucky people didn't start jumping the barricades and ripping him limb from limb for touching a man with a mullet in Jacksonville, Florida.
Yeah, no, it was that did not fly. That did not fly at all. And Sting was pummeling Ric Flair in the corner, and as he's just laying the fucking hammers on the Rick. He's just slamming him over and over and over again. And so Randy Anderson kind of gets involved. He gets in between him because he's been counting the 5 count. He's like, "Hey, I'm going to disqualify you. You need to cut it out." So Sting picks him up.
That's the highest anyone in Florida's ever counted, too.
Yeah, no.
Actually, no, they counted to 10 when Sting had Flair in the corner, and I was so shocked and proud of Florida as a whole for being able to consistently count to 10 without messing up.
Jacksonville has more private schools than public. That's all it is. The education isn't funded by the tax dollars.
Oh, okay.
So he picks up Randy Anderson and carries him from one ring post to the opposing one, and carries him and sets him on top of it. And Randy's like, "Why did we even do this just now?" Like,
"Sting, you so crazy.
Sting, you so crazy. Oh, Ric Flair, you so crazy." So Sting turns around after setting Randy Anderson there, and I don't know why Randy stopped looking at the match, but he was too busy trying to get himself removed from the ring post. And Ric Flair comes out of nowhere with some kind of what there wasn't brass knuckles. What was it?
International object.
Oh, is that what that is?
Do you not know the story of the WCW international?
No,
object?
I don't.
Okay, so obviously in wrestling, what you would mostly call would be a foreign object. So the history of this gets construed. Yes, I do this much research into these episodes. So start giving us money, because the Home Depot thing is really just a joke. They don't really give us money, okay? Even though they're better than Lowe's. Anyway. So, when back in the day, Ted Turner and apparently I'm getting ahead of myself. The main story in a condensed version was they said back in the early 90s, Bill Watts had said, he went on with his crazy old man racist tangents and said, "We're not going to use foreign object anymore because it sounds bad. We're going to start saying international object." The real story
completely
is
stupid.
The real story. No, it gets stupider. The real story is that in the early 90s, Ted Turner told CNN to quit using the word foreign when you would say foreign leaders or foreign incident, and to make people feel less outsiderish or othering, as he put it, use the term international. So WCW really cut in financial rut, needing Ted Turner's money, because I'm pretty sure this was before he was really looking at them. I think he was looking at them, but he hadn't signed a deal or anything. Put out the same thing and said, if this is how they're going to do it, you could not say foreign object anymore. You have to say international object. And apparently when they informed Turner about this, he laughed his butt off.
Why couldn't they just say the loaded punch? That's what I wrote down. He had a loaded punch. He had something in his hand that loaded the punch so it hits harder. Just like a loaded boot. You know, they would tap the toe back in the day. You would get a loaded boot, quote unquote, because you shifted something down at the tip, kick somebody in the head. Now all of a sudden they act like they're dead.
Because there's no room to be stupid in that, and WCW would not.
Fair. Anyway, so Flair loads the punch. He blasts Sting right in the fucking face.
He turns his face into Thanksgiving stuffing.
It was pretty rough. So.
And Sting just hulks up.
Yeah, Sting just hulks up. He goes for the pin, and everybody is booing. You see people throwing trash right at Ric Flair. Oh, no. Jacksonville is pissed.
We get our 4th military press slam. Ring the bell. All right. So then Sting gets a big superplex, gets Flair in the Scorpion Deathlock, and Flair taps out clean.
Which I was not expecting.
No, and then Sting will not let go. And this is where some of the best stuff of the night, besides the Benoit and I almost said Jericho, the Benoit and Eddie stuff, this is Sting's constant attack, his wild-eyed madman attack on Ric Flair.
Yeah, he will not let go of the Scorpion Deathlock. The announcers say, Lex Luger's coming out here, and then Lex doesn't even...
Well, they say it gets stopped by the refs, and it was goofy. Mongo says he's trying to squeeze all of the poison out of Ric Flair, and I thought that was actually good.
It was.
So whoever wrote that down and gave it to Mongo and coached him how to say it like a human that actually has
maybe
a central nervous system.
Maybe Mongo's getting better.
No, you're stupid.
You made him immortal last week.
I did.
You did. So now he's getting better.
I still haven't figured out. Maybe I should pray to Gilbert Gottfried. I gotta go to the Vatican and hit.
Listen here, Mongo. Just because somebody says you're immortal doesn't mean it's true.
I know we've had the who can do a worse Hulk Hogan impression. Our next episode, we're about to have a who can do a better Gilbert Gottfried impression.
Oh, I mean,
because we both done one, and yours is way better. Mine sucked, but
I mean, mine's not even good. It's just I'm just yelling.
Have you ever heard Gilbert Gottfried talk? Anyway, yeah, a bunch of people come out. Eddie and JL try and talk to him. So, and then God forbid, Hacksaw of all people is the one that's able to finally coerce Sting off of him. But then Sting just runs right back in and locks it in.
Lex Luger comes out there. So I think what happened, and this is pure speculation, I don't do any ounce of research for this. I think Lex was supposed to come out when they said Lex was on his way. Mm-hmm. But I think Lex just completely missed his cue entirely. I think he was still in the back.
Because they're saying, he's being stopped by, referees.
I was literally watching the ramp. He wasn't even fucking there. No. He was probably, he might have been taking a piss. Who knows? You can
see that blonde mullet from a good distance away.
Yeah. I mean, and the triceps alone, come on. So...
Luger talks to Sting, let's go.
Yeah, Sting he's got, so he walks away, Lex comes down, so then he runs back and puts him back in the Scorpion Deathlock. Lex comes in there, he talks to him, and that gets him to break it up, and they walk away together. So now you've got face Sting walking out with heel Luger, and the whole, the commentary team is like, oh, what's happening between these two? Well, we're going to have to find out next week, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then we have 7 minutes left for the program. And the Giant, Kev Saul, Jimmy Hart, and they all kind of come out to the ring, and they're talking with Mean Gene Okerlund. And
Hart says Hogan's movies end up in a video store before they hit the silver screen.
I love that. Also,
Jimmy Hart shooting from the hip.
I love that he called him Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan.
Oh. Didn't you say you had something you wanted to get off your chest before we started recording this episode?
I probably did, but I don't even, I think I must have gotten it out by now, because I don't know if I have it written down.
Gotten a lot out.
This has been a hate-filled episode. We're nearing an hour here. This will be our longest episode.
Yes, it is. And
makes fun of their bad movies. Jimmy had the power of attorney.
Yeah, let's not gloss over that. If you're ever going to give someone your power of attorney, make sure it's not somebody who airbrushes their own face on the back of their suit jacket.
Make sure it's not somebody...
I cannot stress this enough.
Or uses a megaphone seriously. In an indoor arena with microphones hooked up to PA systems.
So Hart had the POA, brother, the power of attorney, and put in a stipulation saying if Hogan was DQ'd, he would lose the belt.
Right. But then WCW got their own attorney. He came out.
Nick Lambrose.
And he says this is bullshit. And this whole segment makes no fucking difference.
No, they should. My God.
But it does give us one thing here. So... The Giant, the title is vacated. They said...
Hold on. By the power of the WCW Championship Committee and Commissioner Nick Bockwinkel, the title is vacated. Sorry.
There we go. That was very important. We needed that.
Yes, it was.
It is. No, I'm not lying. I'm not being facetious.
I just like saying Bockwinkel.
I went to write it down, but I was so exhausted at this point, just from watching the 53 minutes of wrestling. It wasn't even that many, because it's no commercials.
It was about 50 minutes.
It was rough. Anyway, so... Power of attorney, etc., etc. Title is vacated, but the Giant won't give it up. So, Taskmaster Kev Saul comes out. Well, he's already out there, but he says, "Tell you what, we will vacate the title. Become World War III? Yeah, World War III. I almost said War Games. World War III. They're going to have the 3-ring 60-man battle royale, and whoever wins will win this vacated title."
Are you saying that's what Sullivan said?
He didn't say it, but he said that it was
Nick Lambo.
Nick Lambros said
Lambro.
that.
Nick.
What is that? What's his name?
Or as Kevin Sullivan called him, Lambad. My God. He was more upset than George at the vending machine. George Costanza at the vending machine talking about Twix! Lambad! convoluted enough. Lambad says that at World War III, the winner of the whole World War III Royal Rumble will be the new WCW World Champion.
Right.
Yes. And then Sullivan calls him Lambad.
Yeah. It's just this whole thing. So I thought Kev Sol was making the announcement, which is obviously not true, and I realized it halfway through. But it's just, so he says that's fine. Giant, give up the title because Giant doesn't want to. He's this is my belt. It's my belt. Like, yeah, we know it's your belt, but it's not your belt because you stole it from Hulk Hogan after you survived a 10-story fall or whatever. Just please give him the fucking belt so we can end the episode.
Mean Gene says Jimmy Hart can take that paper to the men's room.
I love that. The contract
great.
that
Jimmy Hart's, Mean Gene's little quips and stuff are just gold.
Yeah, no, Gene Okerlund looks at the contract that Jimmy Hart had and he says, I actually wrote the exact quote down here because I thought it was great. Why don't you take this paper to the men's room? It won't do you any more good than that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, great.
I'm kind of upset because I feel like, it's a pretty binding legal contract.
Yeah.
I was just like, nuh-uh, you can't do that.
Guess what? Hulk Hogan, he's got plot armor.
Yeah. Oh my God, shut up.
I got invisibility. That means you can't touch me. Ha ha. Ha ha. It's like kids arguing on a fucking playground. It's awful.
I'm gonna get a +2 upgrade of leave me alone.
Only if I can get a +4 upgrade of shut the fuck up.
Well, I got a 20-sided die right here. Let's roll it.
Let's do it.
5.
Yeah,
nope.
This episode sucks. That's what that means.
That's my exact score I gave this episode of Nitro. A 5. Not out of 10 either.
No, God,
out of a way higher number.
Way higher.
But next week we are getting Eddie Guerrero versus Johnny B. Bad.
For the TV title.
Now,
again, I didn't watch WCW. I don't know who ever had titles and who didn't. I'm pulling for Eddie. I bet you he takes it. But I know he won't.
No.
I know he won't.
Oh my God.
Then you also have Randy Savage versus Ming. Sting versus Dean Malenko.
Supposed to be investigating, not wrestling Ming.
I don't know.
Horrible. Worst detective. Great wrestler. Horrible detective.
This isn't a spyglass. It's a Slim Jim.
He's a good guy, but a bad cop.
I've got the worst Randy Savage impression. I used to be so good in high school. Can't do it no more. No, 10 years removed, brother.
Let's wrap this up.
Are
you watching next week?
Yes, I guess.
Because you want to see Eddie versus Johnny B. Bad.
And I want to see Sting versus Dean Malenko. If I didn't finish
Is that what they put out too? Sting versus Malenko?
Yeah.
That'll be a good one.
That'll be good. So
we say now, so full of like positivity for the future. They'll probably have a Hogan promo during the whole match.
Oh, it's going to be a picture-in-picture of some, I don't even fucking know. Just something grotesque. That's what I think of this episode. I'm closing the fucking book. I'm playing the music.
Closed.
Yeah, book is closed. The music is playing. We're going to talk ourselves out of here. Do you have any last words?
No, not really.
Neither do I.
I think everything I needed to say has been said in this last hour. Oh, this hour of power. If you have it, I do have something to say.
Okay.
I know
music has stopped.
I know there's a lot of wrestling going on right now. You got AEW Dark now, AEW Dynamite, Monday Night Raw.
Friday Night SmackDown.
SmackDown on Fox.
NXT on Wednesdays.
NXTs, plus all the stuff on the WWE Network that comes out all the time. We got, what else do we have? Impact is on AXS TV. No one wants to watch ROH anymore,
nope.
so you can get rid of that.
I was going to say
I don't know what New Japan's doing with their TV or anything, but
it's always great. Whatever it's doing is great.
If you get the chance, give an hour a week, get on YouTube and check out the NWA's new show, Power. It's got 3 R's at the end. I'm not being a jerk.
No,
and they stylize it when they write it out with 3 R's, like an official statement.
It looks great on the logo, but it looks stupid in text, like on Twitter. But you know what? I don't really give a fuck. It is
great.
Unbelievably good.
Smashing Pumpkin Man here to bring back old school studio wrestling.
I absolutely, it made me hate this episode so much more. It made me hate the fact that we're even doing this because I was like, this is so good for 1 hour of wrestling. And yet every fucking week, week in and week out, we have to look at Hulk Hogan, the Yeti!
The Yeti! No, we're never going to see the Yeti ever again.
You know what? That actually makes me a little sad.
He becomes Super Ninja.
What?
I'm dead serious. He gets a gimmick of being a gigantic ninja. And then he becomes Reese and joins Raven's flock.
Okay.
My research is just on point.
Yeah, man, you keep doing that.
Sometimes. You're just like, no one asked you.
I'll just keep doing Wikipedia searches of shit that's not relevant.
Anyway, my God, play the music.
Yeah.
Ring the damn bell.
Ring the damn bell.
from all of us to you, have an enjoyable Monday morning.
Yes, always the enjoyable Monday morning. Thank you for spending your Monday with us. We love you. This has been a great hour. Goodbye.